Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uniquely Unqualified Podcast, episode 15. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2026. May the 4th be with you. Before we get into anything, please like and subscribe. It helps me as I build this channel, and I like watching numbers go up. So, I really much more prefer the spoof on that phrase in the movie Spaceballs with the Schwartz. May the Schwartz be with you. Anyway, so I wanted to start out a little bit because there's really not a whole hell of a lot going on in American politics outside of the kind of the humdrum. The 24-hour news cycle is kind of over. When it comes to the topic of Iran, we're gonna stop hearing about that, I think, in the next week or two if nothing happens. Basically the United States, we're gonna get to it. So anyway, I wanted to go over, I thought it'd be cute to go over a little bit of history on where Star Wars Day come from. So, May the 4th be with you. That started on May 4th, 1979, when Margaret Thatcher was elected as Prime Minister to the UK. Check that out. This isn't a fabulous story or anything. So her conservative, Margaret Thatcher was conservative, her political party. So in the end of the written quote, when they say your party workers, it doesn't mean like a labor union or anything. So the political party that she won the prime ministership over on May 4th in 1979 had wrote a newspaper ad, and it read, "Dear Maggie, may the 4th be with you, your party workers." And that was it. And, God bless us, man. We can really just recycle shit, can't we? So let's see, what else? It wasn't officially the phrase for Star Wars Day until 2011. There was other parts in history where it kind of popped up, but it was largely really insignificant, and it wasn't until, what did it say, the 2000s, when like a Facebook group started, may the 4th be with you. Anyway, and then in 2011, it's officially the thing for StarArs Day. So, may the 4th be with you. Since I'm on the subject, Star Wars, one of my most favorite movie franchises of all time, ruined by Disney. Disney ruins a lot of shit. That's a damn shame, because I remember growing up, I had all the VHSs, back in the day, Disney had this VHS line called the Masterpiece Collection. And the Masterpiece Collection was typically Disney movies, cartoons. I don't know what the criteria was, but they were like more original. They were older. I think you had to be a Disney movie for 10 years or something before you could be part of the Masterpiece Collection. And the Masterpiece Collection came in these poofy foam VHS tape booklets, basically. They were like larger, more cumbersome than the standard cardboard slip that you slip it in, and it wasn't like the Blockbuster thing that you unfold. It was this big poofy thing. Anyway, it was called the Masterpiece Collection. Why did that matter? Because Disney used to be good, and then somewhere along the line, that phrase that somebody coined a while back, "go woke, go broke," well, that kind of worked for Disney. Anyway, so first of all, I believe that this is true. So it's not that Disney came up with 6 other scripts for Star Wars. Apparently, George Lucas wrote 9 scripts for Star Wars. And I believe that most, if not all, of the titles for them are the titles from the script. But let's go over the ones that are the most important, because let's just face it, Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, I think they just fucking sucked. Anyway, they just totally ruined it, man. You know, just totally ruined it. You take a hell of a freaking storyline from, anyway, so George Lucas went to pitch these 9 scripts. He only got 3. They picked the middle 3, and those middle 3, what we now know as A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, those are the original ones, but those are the middle 3 stories, which clearly are the best stories in the franchise. But the first 3 I could tolerate. Number 1, The Phantom Menace. So, I don't remember when this movie came out, but I do remember I was in school. I don't remember what grade I was in, but The Phantom Menace comes out, and my youngest brother's father, the summer that it comes out, right? I saw The Phantom Menace. I could not tell you how many times I saw it. If summer was 90 days, I saw it 90 times plus, because my youngest brother's father knew somebody at the theater, and this fucking guy would fall asleep in the theater, and at least on one occasion, I just, watched it again. Anyway, so I remember that summer being one of the greatest, most memorable summers of my life. So I can attribute The Phantom Menace to being, it was good, it was okay. I've got a fond memory of it. Not as fond as the originals. But, so basically what would go on is, it's summertime, so I'd, wake up somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and my stepfather would play hooky from work. He was doing furniture moving at the time, and so we would throw the fishing poles in the car, and we would drive down to the river. And this was in Boise, Idaho. So we'd drive down to the river, catch some trout, and then we would go over to I don't remember what the movie theater was called. I think it's called Flicks now, if it's still there. But we'd go there, we'd catch a, what do you call that, before 6 p.m., a matinee. So we'd get a discounted matinee on this. Oftentimes we'd be the only people in the theater, get some popcorn, due to take a nap. I'd watch fucking Star Wars over and over and over every day. And then after that, another one of his buddies had a sandwich shop, and he made a damn good sandwich, as I remember. So then we'd just basically go jump across the street, grab a sandwich, and get home by about the times my mom got home. So I would visit my mom from Los Angeles during the summers. Anyway, that was my intro to The Phantom Menace. And then what was the second one? Attack of the Clones. That one was pretty cool. I don't have any fond memories of that, but The Phantom Menace I do. And then the third one was Revenge of the Sith, where basically whoever the hell played Anakin Skywalker proved to be a bad actor. Not good at acting. And then you've got A New Hope, which is Star Wars. Let's just call it what it is. They renamed Star Wars to A New Hope. And then The Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi. And The Empire Strikes Back is probably the best Star Wars of all time. And then I'm not even going to mention 7, 8, and 9 because they're awful. The only one I think that is worth a damn outside of the first 6, as it would be, is we went to the theaters because Rogue One came out. Rogue One was a cool movie. I remember thinking, that's a cool Star Wars movie. But the rest are, shit. So I didn't really I'm not old enough. I wasn't born in the 60s nor the 70s. I was born in the 80s. And so by the time, I remember Star Wars had been out for, a decade by the time I have memory of it. And and then you don't really appreciate it until you get older. But, when you look back, just like the cinematography, just the way that they did the scenes, that was computer-generated imagery even back then, and even fast forward to movies like Jurassic Park, that kind of computer-generated imagery didn't really screw with your eyes, probably because you were dealing with an analog TV, so you couldn't really, it's not like this super sharp stuff that we got now, because, if you watch a movie like Forrest Gump or, not Star Wars, because they've edited, remastered, make Star Wars. The original 3 Star Wars look freaking great, no matter what medium you're watching it on. Streaming, Blu-ray, I don't care. They are awesome. So, but the special effects, I guess, in those movies were fabulous. I still to this day, they're so good. And today, now with AI, I just have funny eyes. Edible marijuana in gummy form. If you go to a store and purchase gummies, don't work on me. They're a waste of money. I got whatever weird enzyme in my liver that says that I don't work. I didn't take a lot. But then if you go and make some homemade butter and dose it up a bunch, then I'll get fucked up. But other than that, if I see CGI or AI, I catch it immediately. And it is not fun for my eyes. I don't like it, so I don't watch it. If you watch Forrest Gump in 4K UHD, on my big TV in the living room, the scenes where he's on the black and white TV and Kennedy's talking, Nixon is talking, it's abundantly clear that was some, when the hell was Forrest Gump made? 1993? That was some 1993 tech, and they just didn't have the best way of remastering it or whatever to make it fit the new TVs via streaming or Blu-ray. But I can get over that. Excuse me. I can't get over the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because that was just a fucking cartoon. The original Jim Henson Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Third one sucked. But those were actual fucking ninjas in turtle suits doing backflips and shit. And so when you're watching Raphael, kick the fucking Foot Clan's ass with his size and everything. He's doing roundhouses and backflips and all that cool shit. That's an actor. That's a person in a suit. The other actors can interact with them. It's not this fucking creepy gimp in a green bodysuit, moving around a green screen. It's not. Anyway, so the special effects in Star Wars still to this day hold up. And somewhere along the way, with most things, we just got fucking lazy. Didn't we? We just got lazy. We got lazy with cinema, and what cinema is supposed to look like. You know, like cinema is supposed to be, well, you're supposed to like it for one. There's so many different styles of movies, and there's so many different, it's like pick your poison, but make it visually appealing. And with all of the crazy, again, AI, the computer generated stuff, all that stuff, it's just so unappealing to the eye, for me. And so I don't watch a whole lot of movies. Side note, I did watch this new movie called, it's with George Clooney and Adam Sandler. It's called J. Kelly. 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Chris here. 2 thumbs up. I thought it was a good movie. I've watched it twice already, and I just saw it this weekend as we sit here on Monday. Really good movie. It's put together well. There's not a bunch of there's no need for a bunch of that. I loved the musical score. I loved the kind of like psychological aspect that it had to it with the different scenes. And you know, when Jay Kelly, spoiler alert, when Jay Kelly's like entourage would be on the phone or they're moving about and you know, they're just whatever, making a movement, catching a plane, doing a new scene, whatever. It's like there's like a psychological effect where you're like behind the eyes of Clooney's character, watching all these fools just, you know, they think that they're doing this great noble work and it's so important and they're so busy and the music is light and airy and they're moving back and forth and they're just real people moving around cars and movie sets and again the score is really fun and it's like a 2-hour and 20-minute movie. Great movie. So we still have the ability to do it, folks. We just need to, you know, one, not be scared to make a great movie. You know, a lot of people say that you could never do Tropic Thunder again. Well, you could, but you know, only an ass like me would go back and nostalgically watch some kind of, you know, just horribly offensive comedy anymore. You know what? I don't think that's true. I think that would become one of the biggest damn things out there. If there was a comedy writer that just, you know, another Hangover, another Tropic Thunder, another, you know, we've got what's another good one? Knocked Up. Boom, there you go. That's it. And you know what's really funny is when you're looking at the actors in Knocked Up and you watch that movie and then you listen to their rhetoric today, I assume they were always kind of those people, but it's comedy. It's funny. And you're supposed to be able to fucking laugh and not have some obscure, you know, boy-girl character, some ambiguous character that doesn't... My wife watched this show where it's like, it's clearly a woman, trans actor thing, playing a man or a trans person, and they want to be a cop, and then but then they're married to a woman, and then it's just fucking weird. It's just weird on screen, and that weirdness just comes through, and you can feel it. You know, I sometimes wonder if, so my family was in Los Angeles. It's no claim to me, spent a lot of time with them when I was a little kid. But my uncle, my father's brother, he was a writer and director, and he wrote a fucking bunch of movies, and a few that I've been on other sides of the world, and they know phrases from his movies. The phrase "You're killing me, Smalls" is probably one of the most uttered lines of all time, and some folks don't even know where the fuck it comes from. But The Sandlot was like the best fucking baseball movie ever made. Angels in the Outfield, The Rookie, all that stuff is great. But The Sandlot, that was a fucking great movie. It's still great. It still holds up today. It's, there's no freaking CGI. He told me a story about the whole tree where the tree house, the scene when they're in there, forever, that thing, that tree was actually dug up from another property because the producer or some shit was driving down a highway. The film was filmed in Utah. He's driving down a highway and he sees this gnarly ass tree. And so they go and buy it from the owner and they dig it up and they stick it on the other side of the fence in their freaking movie scene. Like, that's the kind of shit you had to do back then. And then when you look at the scenes of the Beast, like, yeah, it's clearly a fucking puppet. But the point is that that's a tangible character that you can touch. It's not some fucking person in a green suit going like this and you're supposed to like imagine that a dragon is flying above you. It's icky to my eyeballs. Anyway, enough of the movie thing. So yeah, happy May 4th. May the 4th be with you. May the Schwartz be with you. Anyway, so Iran. What the fuck's going on with Iran, right? I don't know. Who knows? I really think, as I was saying earlier, I think this the 24-hour news cycle is coming to a close on Iran because there's just not a lot to report. That's a regime that's willing to go down with the ship. I've said this a bunch of times. That's a regime that would never admit defeat, even if they were, about to get their head cut off. Iran is the what the hell was that character in Braveheart? Freedom, but Iran would be at the gallows or at the guillotine, saying, praise be to Allah before they admit defeat. They'll get their damn head cut off. They'll kill all their own people before they admit defeat. Anyway, so who the fuck knows what's going on? There's still people that say, the U.S. lost and Iran won. I really think that those people just I understand that we've had attacks on our bases overseas in the region, but when the U.S. is able to when the U.S. is able to clean mines out of the southern part of the strait in what's called the original lanes, I think is what it's called. The U.S. is able to clean these mines out without any Iranian Navy, shooting at them or anything. Pretty sure it's true the Navy's gone. Pretty sure it's true that their drone program is, pretty debilitated. Pretty sure it's true that we can basically fly over the area unimpeded. Pretty sure. Anyway, so I don't know if you call that a loss. The only thing is that this whole Strait of Hormuz thing is going on. I would have to do a bit more research, and I guess I challenge you guys to do some more research about this. But, when I looked at it, and it said, now this was via Google search, and I really didn't go further than the AI overview. I didn't have a lot of time. But it said that, no, Iran has not been collecting tolls since before the conflict. However, they mined that southern part of Iran, south of Qatar, or the strait. They mined that a fucking while before the damn conflict started. So I'd like to see if it's actually true that they have not been trying to collect a toll, right? So there was routes, there was shipping lanes that would stick closer to Saudi, that would stick closer to Yemen, Saudi, Oman, Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain. But the Iranians put mines all under there. And so now the U.S. is going in and clearing those mines out so boats can use those other lanes, and there's not a toll booth, basically. But it seems to me like if those mines were laid some years ago, seems like Iran might have been taking tolls for a hot minute before this whole thing happened. I don't know. That's just a casual observation of mine. Anyway, so the U.S. Was removing mines and escorting a ship through, and then Iran says, "Oh, you're breaking the ceasefire." Well, nobody's shooting at anybody, you know. This Iran thing is it never was going to go the way that the Trump administration, Donald Trump is clearly shitting his britches over this whole thing. Clearly. The people that need to get involved are Xi Jinping of China and Vladimir Putin of Russia. Those guys, I think, need to get involved because at this point, the new Ayatollah, he came out and said that all Americans in the region belong at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. It is something that he said in response to the U.S. Backing out of the region. And so that Ayatollah would like to see all the Americans in the region dead at the bottom of the Persian Gulf. Again, they're going to the gallows saying, "We won, we actually won." Meanwhile, you're getting your fucking heads cut off. I don't know, what's winning. I think a lot of these folks that think the United States have lost this thing. I may be wrong, but I feel as though they're no war absolutism. And it's not that they're absolutists about no war. It's just that this whole Iran thing is literally like a betrayal of Donald Trump to his voting base. The only thing, and as I said before, man, with the Democrats and the SAVE Act and the TSA and all this sort of shit, the Democrats, if they want a prayer in hell of coming out on top of anything, just keep everything going as normal and let Donald Trump fuck this Iran thing up so good, he'll be known as the worst, biggest lying president of all time. And if you want the Democrats to be in, well then just leave everything else alone, make sure everything's funded, and let this fucker ruin everything for himself. That's all you had to do. But keep pushing. Crybabies push. They push a lot. And that's what the current Democratic Party is crybabies. And I'll even get into something about them here in a minute. So, there's not going to be any sort of deal with Iran and the United States of America. Again, I think the United States of America needs to cut military alliance and financial subsidies to Israel. I really believe that. I think that we have got to because what's his nuts? Bibi Netanyahu, he is not going to play ball with any of this. He's not. He already hasn't. He's violated every damn agreement that could have been made over the phone or handshake or whatever. He's killing Christians in Lebanon. This guy is unhinged. We have got to get away from our alliance with Israel. Just the thing with Iran is just going to kind of land and smolder out where it is at this point. There's not going to be a deal. There's not going to be any trade related. The most that the U.S. can do basically at this point is clear out the mines laid in the strait, in some form of good faith, lift sanctions on Iran so that they can sell their whatever they're sanctioning, so that they can sell that on the open market, so they can make an income, so that they can rebuild all the shit that the U.S. and Israel broke. And then the U.S. just get the fuck out. wow, we just came in and shit on your pillow. Yep, we just did that. Goodbye. That's basically what is happening here. It's basically what we got to do now. Because if you want them to come to the table just with the actions of Israel and the rhetoric of Donald Trump versus the ideology that is that regime. I don't know if it's true, but like the Qataris and the Sauds and the Kuwaitis are backing the United States. Not to say militarily, they don't have anything to back it, but they just don't like Iran either. And so leave it up to the rest of those countries to keep that straight, clean, and work with Iran. And the United States just backs the fuck out. We've got our own oil reserves to sell. We've got Venezuela to sell to. If this whole thing goes tits up, at this point, though, you can't release any sanctions on them because this left such a horrible taste in so many other countries' mouths that if you lift sanctions, nobody's going to buy fucking oil from the United States of America in boycott of the United States of America. They're going to go and buy what I would assume be discounted oil at that point from Iran, literally just to compete with the United States of America and make sure that we China gets all of their oil from them instead of a percentage from this side of the globe. And same thing with Russia, India, Pakistan, blah, 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 blah. Remember, the U.S. doesn't get any oil from the Strait of Hormuz. We don't get any fucking things at all from that area. We can supply our military bases in that fashion, but as far as here on the homeland, that fucking part of the globe means nothing to us. Anyway, so that's kind of where we stand with Iran, is just what's next. Well, this is what's next. This is what's next until, quietly exit stage left. That's what's next. There's not going to be a deal. There's not going to be a peace deal. There's not going to be a peace treaty. Just like with the actors, just like with the folks in government. It's Ukraine and the United States' fault. Folks, educate yourselves to what the Clinton administration started doing in the 90s, denuclearizing Ukraine. This whole move with Ukraine and Russia has been in the works since the 90s. Clinton initiated the denuclearization of the Ukraine in 2014. There was the Maidan coup, which was funded by the United States of America to overthrow the duly elected government of that area and install an actor that played the Ukrainian president on television over there, known as Volodymyr Zelensky. In 2014, when that whole thing happened, that Crimean area and that Donbass area, those are Russian-speaking, Russian-sympathizing, Russian-identifying people. And Russia already had control of that area. And so when Kiev was lobbing rockets into what they were calling their own border, but shelling national Russians, then Vladimir Putin has to do something. These are my people. It's kind of the same reason why he said, I'm not going to do anything in retaliation to Israel in regards to Gaza or anything like that, because I have X amount of Russian Jews that live there, and I'm not going to kill my own people. Vladimir Putin has come out and said that. So, that whole thing, Zelensky is shit scared of Vladimir Putin. If he does anything against what the United States says, he's a dead man. So his only play is fucking keep it going until I got nothing left to give. But that whole thing, all that shit always just eats itself. It's like it's a snake eating its own tail. So you're not going to see, until Zelensky is gone, out, dead, whatever, you're not going to see anything, and the U.S. is completely backed away from that. You're not going to see anything going on in regards of peace in Ukraine, just like you're not going to see anything in regards of a peace settlement between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. It's not going to happen. It's kind of like the Ep.15 files. Just fucking forget about it. The best damn thing that we can do at this point is just say, oh, by the way, left an upper decker in your toilet. Peace out. That's the only thing that we can do at this point. It's just it. So I'm not going to call that a loss because if you're talking about how hard you can punch somebody in the face, regardless of if you're right or wrong, if you pummel that opponent, that's not a loss. Even if you go to jail, like, yeah, you kind of lost in the long run, but you didn't lose that. So, and the U.S. ain't going to go to jail over it. So, anyway, so that's where we sit with Iran. Nothing new to report, just the U.S. trying to move shit around the Strait of Hormuz. There's a little bit of movement. Some stuff is happening. We're taking 5,000 troops out of Germany. That's where we sit on Monday. So I want to go into my birthplace and Spencer Pratt, Los Angeles. So I was born in Los Angeles County. I lived there until I was 22 years old. My mom moved up to Boise, Idaho in 1993. She had been spending a lot of time up there with my aunt when my aunt was going to Boise State University. In 1992, 1993, she moved us up there after the divorce of my father. I couldn't stand that. My mom was being awfully social with other guys, and as a young 6-year-old who now I'm 1,000 miles away from my dad, who I think is my hero, now I don't fucking like my mom because, who the fuck is this guy at the dinner table? And I was a son of a bitch. Anytime I saw my mom try to have a boyfriend, I was not fucking having that. When I was a kid, I was a little shit about that. So I would like to spend most of my time in Los Angeles. And so without going through a list of the mayors that I remember, or the governors that I remember of California and Los Angeles back in the Dizzy, what I do remember outside of, I remember Rodney King, I remember the Northridge quake. I was too young to remember the Watts riots. That happened a while ago. But Rodney King, Northridge, OJ, I remember all those things. Those weren't very good. Those weren't cool. But by and large, I graduated high school in Los Angeles. It wasn't my first job, but my first apartment in Los Angeles was, I had a job right out of high school delivering appliances and doing HVAC. And at the time, I made $500 a week, flat $2,000 a month, but I would get tips. And after I was doing that sort of stuff for over a year, I got comfortable with doing little things like side jobs. Like, yeah, I'll run a new refrigerator ice maker line under your sink, under your crawl space up, and I'll connect that for an extra $25. Shit like that. Yeah, I can replace the spigot in the laundry room or whatever, right? Yeah, let's get a new gas valve put on. I could do that kind of stuff. And so that $2,000 a month was alone enough to pay my rent, car payment, and car insurance, plus all my bills and food. And even as a 17, 18-year-old kid, man, it's not a lot today, but it's more than what most can say that they have. My checking, I had money in my savings account, and my checking account never dropped below like $1,000. That was when I was 18. And so I remember being able to be young and independent and just live in LA. When I was in high school, I went to, for ninth grade, only ninth grade, I went to Van Nuys High School. That's where they filmed Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Van Nuys High School. So anyway, for ninth grade, I went to that place, and we would ditch school, just high school shit, fun stuff. But on the weekends, if anybody doesn't know where Van Nuys and Sherman Oaks is, right there on Sepulveda Boulevard, if you take Sepulveda Boulevard up over the Sepulveda Pass, that drops you right down. You go through, Bel Air, you cross Mulholland Drive, you go past Bel Air, and past Sunset, and then that'll drop you off on Santa Monica, hook a right, and another 2-3 miles, you're at the beach. So it was a hell of a bike ride, but that's what we would do. My friends and I would ride our bikes from Burbank Boulevard and Sepulveda Boulevard. That's where I lived. We'd ride our bikes all the way to Santa Monica, and we would just hang out at the beach, and we'd ride back. Grandma come pick us up, whatever the thing is. And then, I had a job in a car and driving a company truck, and, I had a little road partner that was cool. Wasn't big into drinking alcohol. Wasn't a big weed smoker. I just remember being able to, like I said, be young and independent in Los Angeles. And so I remember that place. I remember it before there were homeless encampments all over the damn place. I remember it before it is what it is today, basically. Even down to the people that live there. I get such anxiety if I have to go to LAX airport. I can't stand it. That place is awful, and it's not because the airport sucks, it's because of the people that work there. If you ever been through LAX airport, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get flagged on my YouTube channel for telling you what color their skin is and what kind of attitude they have, and an asshole in a badge is an asshole in a badge. But when you can't go to California Pizza Kitchen, Wahoo's Fish Tacos, and get some you're already eating awful food, and it's here's some shitty food with a bad attitude that's overpriced. Hey, fuck off, get to your gate. No smile, no happy to see it, just a bunch of pissy liberal fuckers that don't want to be at work is basically what you get when you're at LAX airport. So now, it sucks. I was back in LA during COVID for a week, and that one I was actually wow, there's nobody on the freeway. Where my father lived at the time, you could get from there to La Cañada Flint Ridge in 10 minutes on the freeway, easy peasy. The sky was cleaner. I was kind of oh man, maybe if LA is more like this now, maybe I could get jiggy with it. It's a good thing I didn't, because it's almost as bad as it's ever been. You would think that because of it, it's bad. Objectively, it's bad. People that live there know it's bad. People all over the country know it's bad. Gavin Newsom is such a fucking flunky and a retard that even his own kids are saying, I really would not like it if he ran for president. And he couldn't anyway. Interviewers say that he's off his nut, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not an idiot necessarily. Well, he's an idiot. He might be smart in these areas, but when it comes to whatever the fuck else he's doing, he is dumber than a box of rocks. And when you are watching anything with Gavin Newsom, and he's talking to you, and he's having to do this, give and take, and the Donald Trump, and the this, and the womp womp womp, spirit fingers. That kind of shit is just literally to distract you. He looked like such a cunt when he had Ben Shapiro on his podcast, like an absolute dolt, Gavin Newsom. And so you can't parade him out. The least qualified Republican in a presidential race would wipe the fucking debate floor with Gavin Newsom. And the whole country knows it. He has no chance in being a president. Nobody would vote for him, except for Californians. And so you've got the crippling deficit that the budget in the state has. You have the overregulation of everything, 13% state tax on income, and that's not to mention sales tax. Like, that's just what they take from your fucking paycheck. And then gas is $7 a gallon. The whole place is filthy. You can't walk anywhere with your children because there's homeless drug addicts everywhere, naked people taking a shit on the sidewalk. You can't do that. Venice is just a giant, dirty, fucking graffiti mound at this point. Like, it's awful. And then, the Palisades fire. Anybody that has ever lived in Los Angeles for more than a year knows what the Santa Ana whims are. They're there every day, have been forever. And when these fires burnt everything down, and Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass are blaming Donald Trump for the fire, like Donald Trump, like to hell with the fact that did he start the fire? Fuck no. He was on the other side of the damn country. He had nothing to do with that. That's all you guys. You Angelinos, man. So I'm getting to a point here. So the Palisades fire goes, regulation and building code is so fucking over the top and convoluted that you can't get anything done. You can't get anything built. It takes like 2 years to get a damn permit to dig a foundation for a house. Like, what the fuck? And then you're talking about having to, if you're having to rebuild one of your properties like on the beach in Malibu, now you got to put in, caissons everywhere that go 40 feet into the ground, and you got to put a seawall, and it's for what? All of these other houses have never fucking had that. They're decades and decades old. They were built in the 40s. They've gone through all the earthquakes. It was a fire that took them out. Not a tidal wave, not rising sea levels, not fucking earthquake, a fire. And the rest of these houses that maybe didn't burn down, they don't have 25 caissons under them, and they're still there, and they're still good. They don't necessarily have a seawall that goes down 30 feet, and they're still there, and they're still good. But now, in order to, you're fucking $10 million in before you even get any framing going. Oh, and insurance doesn't cover anything there anymore. So, Spencer Pratt, I understand he's an actor. I've seen his face now a bunch of times. I can tell you, never seen him on screen. I have no clue what he's in as far as being an actor. Not a clue. But he's running for mayor of Los Angeles. I'd like to see him win. I like what he's saying. If Angelinos have a half brain cell, he will win. I don't think so, because, we've got, what the fuck is her name? So Spencer Pratt, I guess, I don't know how he did. Did he hire cheaters or something like that to do this? So Spencer Pratt catches Karen Bass colluding with Nithya Raman, however you want to say her name. These Nithya Raman. So how he caught these two colluding is beyond me. It's kind of funny. So Nithya Raman was supposed to be giving Karen Bass an endorsement, and then at the last minute she doesn't endorse, and she jumps into the mayoral race for the city of Los Angeles. Now Karen Bass is 100% completely incompetent, and she is a wretched, horrible leader. She's a horrible mayor. The city of Los Angeles got completely duped by her, and they're going to get duped yet again by Nithya Raman. So I did a little bit of looking up. Now, Nithya Raman is Democratic Socialist. The Democratic Socialists are not beholden to their voters. They're not. When they go out there and so the Democratic Socialist is a national party, right? So if Mamdani says that he's a Democratic Socialist and he's registered with the party, that party has its own agenda separate from the constituents' agenda, what they and all of the rhetoric that they spill. So when a Democratic Socialist gets elected, they actually sign a contract with the Democratic Socialist Party, and in that contract it says that now that you're in government, you're voted in, you're going to do the bidding of the party, not the constituents. That's not democracy, folks. But meanwhile, these motherfuckers are the ones screaming about it. It's the end of democracy. No, yes, it is the end of democracy because you motherfuckers are getting into power. And so, anyway, having said that, so Nithya Raman is a Democratic Socialist. So if she gets elected, she has to sign one of these contracts. And you best fucking believe that the fraud's going to go up, homeless is going to go up, taxes are going to go up, people are going to leave, blah, 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 blah. Same thing in New York, same thing in Washington, same thing in Chicago. I mean, fuck, dude, Chicago's got a professional football team taken off. I mean, that's how fucking bad it is. And these people are so stupid that they don't understand the concept of voting with your feet. Now, I don't really necessarily agree with voting with your feet. Yes, it's America, it's a free country, and you can just leave, pack your shit and leave. Cool, good on you. Don't do that. Stay and vote better. That's the fucking solution to the problem. Y'all voted this fucking problem in the first place. The problem is these people with the D on the side of their name. So anyway, so Karen Bass gets caught colluding with Nithya Raman. About what, you say? Well, about fucking, making sure that Nithya Raman is the next mayor and not Spencer Pratt. So, Karen Bass is registered under the Democratic Party. Interesting, it said Democratic, not Democrat. Now I have another thing to look into and educate myself about. What's the difference? Nithya Raman is Democratic Socialist, which leads me to believe that Karen Bass is not a Democrat, she's a Democratic Socialist. But if you were to see Nithya Raman run and you check on her Wikipedia, if she wins, she'll have a big D next to her. Not a DS, a D. Now, that means that I'm a Democrat. No, you're not. You're a Democratic Socialist. There is a big fucking difference. And because Spencer Pratt has got a lot of attention down there, he's spending money on good ad campaigns down there, but to no avail, he will not win. If he wins, holy shit, that would be a real sign of turning a corner. It would, for the whole nation. Spencer Pratt has got he's gained a lot in the polls down there recently. The whole Nithya Raman moving in to oppose Spencer Pratt and Karen Bass. Karen Bass knows that she is a fucking failure. She knows that. And she knows that this job is no longer hers. The lowest approval rating. She's an absolute fucking failure. And she instead of looking in the mirror like what all of these fuckers do, instead of looking in the mirror, they try to find the orange Hitler. And they go, it was him. Meanwhile, everybody in Los Angeles knows that the Santa Ana winds come. There's fire season every year, and shit burns down. It has nothing to do with climate change. It has to do with funding your fire department, cleaning up undergrowth. That's why these fires start, is because there's a whole bunch of dead shit laying on the ground under these trees. You go to the rural mountains of Idaho, and before fire season, you'll see these workers will have cleared these whole big areas and stacked giant piles of sticks and logs and leaves and anything that can catch fire. And then another truck comes in and loads all that shit up and takes it away. We do still have fires in Idaho. But it doesn't burn down the whole fucking side of the coastline. Because we spend money to clean that up. I don't know if you guys remember, a couple years ago, Canada was, trying to blame climate change on their horrible fires, and the smoke was engulfing New York and state and city from Canadian wildfires. And Trudeau was trying to say, it's climate change. No, it's not. It doesn't take but 1 fucking second to go in and see, was there any cleanup going on before fire season? And the answer is no. And if you elect this Nithya Raman bitch, she's not going to do anything to repair that, fix that, refund that. Fuck, man, this bitch might even reduce the size of the fucking fire department and keep the water out and all this stuff, man. These people legit want these things to fall. They want these things to crumble. They want that. Why? Power. Yes, people like this actually exist. And they are all over our fucking government right now. And it's because they go out and they tell you that we're going to do free shit, health care, your children need to be safe and fed and all that stuff. Meanwhile, they've said all this stuff to you. They fucking burn your house down. They poison your children with food and fucking ideology. And what's worse is, even though they might say, I'm running as a Democrat, but I'm a democratic socialist, because they're with that fucking basically a shadow group, they'll be able to say, like Karen Bass, she's got a big D on the side of her name, but if she's colluding with Nithya Raman, it's because she knows that she can't win against Spencer Pratt, but another democratic socialist could. So, and frankly, unpopular opinion, people are just too fucking stupid to know any better. People are that fucking stupid. You got, on this side, you got people that are that truly evil and wretched that they will do this in government to you. But those people can't exist if you can't dupe the masses. So the masses have been duped and fed a bunch of bullshit. And then the next fucking evil Hydra head comes about. And they say, oh yeah, that one says they'll give us free shit too. It's like, where do you think this shit's gonna come from? And you jack your taxes up, and then of course people that make money leave. And so then where are you gonna get the taxes? Well, the people that stayed, the people that voted for you. Good job, LA. LA, Los Angeles County, Los Angeles City at large, please vote for Spencer Pratt. You would rather have somebody with no track record than someone with a horrible track record. Uniquely Unqualified Podcast. We will come to you again very soon, in the next day or two. Hopefully some shit pops off around the world and we have something more exciting to talk about than fucking Star Wars in Los Angeles. Although I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. Like and subscribe, Uniquely Unqualified Podcast. We will see y'all later. Have a great day.